Well, hello to all the faithful and dedicated members of the UCG, Beloit, Chicago, and Northwest congregations. Let me begin with a question. How much do you relate to the Israelites in the wilderness and their shortcomings? For 40 years, the children of Israel journeyed through the wilderness, yet they fell short in many ways. They lacked trust in God before he parted the Red Sea. They complained about food, water, and temporary hardships. Even close family members of Moses, like Korah and Miriam, became critical of God's chosen leadership. And when 12 spies were sent to survey the promised land, 10 returned with discouraging reports that weakened the people's faith. In each of these moments, hearts were tested and many failed. Some even lost their lives because of their unbelief and attitudes. I often think about how many times I might have died in the wilderness, given my own human tendencies to find fault, to doubt, or to complain. But through God's patience and grace, I believe I experienced a measure of growth this year, especially through what happened with our feast in the Bahamas. Like many of you, I look forward to the feast all year long. It's a spiritual highlight, a time to rejoice before God, to dwell in temporary dwellings, and to envision the coming kingdom and millennium. Naturally, when we plan for the feast, we look for a beautiful sight with uplifting fellowship, comfortable accommodations, and inspiring messages. This year, the Bahamas seem to promise all of that. Then came an unexpected test. Just days before the Feast of Trumpets, we received an email from our festival coordinator. It said, last week I was informed that our venue for the Bahamas Feast of Tabernacles, the Grand Lukian, would be closing before the feast instead of honoring our contract. There was a Plan B hotel, but it was clearly a downgrade. At that moment, I made a decision. I would not worry. I prayed and trusted that God would work it out. My attitude remained positive, even if Plan B was where we would end up. I reminded myself that many brethren around the world would be overjoyed just to have a feast regardless of accommodation. So I kept my focus where it should be, on God's purpose, not on the hotel. Still, we were told to pray that something might change. We waited for the final update, September 24th, and the email came. The answer was no. The Grand Lukian would close. We were moving to Plan B. I took a deep breath. I reminded myself, God knows. He allows these things for a reason. It was a small test of faith, and I wanted to pass it. Then, just 2 days later, another email arrived, completely unexpected. It said, this morning, we were informed that the Plan B hotel suffered flood damage due to heavy rains, closing one entire wing of rooms. Without those rooms, they cannot accommodate our group. However, they have worked with the Bahama government and the Grand Lukian management, and the Grand Lukian has agreed to remain open to host our feast. Can you imagine? The very hotel that had canceled on us was now reopening just for our group. God had worked it out in his own time and in his own way. When all seemed impossible, God intervened and turned the situation completely around. Just like at the Red Sea, when there seemed to be no path forward, God made a way. Through this experience, I wasn't just thankful for his deliverance, I was reflective. God gave us an opportunity to respond differently, to avoid the attitudes of complaint and doubt and once characterized Israel in the wilderness. This feast reminded me of something very important. Faith is not proven when everything goes as planned. Faith is proven when nothing goes as planned. But our trust in God remains. As we continue walking toward the kingdom of God, we remember that we walk by faith, not by sight. And we can take heart the words of David, who wrote in Psalm 27, verse 14, "Wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord." May we all learn to wait patiently, to trust deeply, and to see God's hand in every circumstance. I hope each of you has a spiritually renewing Sabbath, a day of peace, gratitude, and rest from daily responsibilities. And may we always remember God's deliverance often arrives just when it seems too late, because his timing is always perfect.